Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. I would consider a motion for the minutes of the November 25th, 2025 regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Any citizen wishing to make statements during the discussion of any item must first be recognized by the commission chair. After being recognized, that person should state their name and the name of any organization represented. Statements should be limited to 5 minutes. Please silence all phones and electronic devices. Recording the meeting is allowed. And the commission requests that anyone using special recording equipment be seated in the back row to avoid creating a distraction during the meeting. We have no old business, so we'll move right on to approval of appropriations with Bev Schneider, County Clerk.
Good morning. Good morning. This morning we have the accounts payable register for the period of November 17th, 2025 to December 2nd, 2025. And is that for approval?
All right, do the commissioners have any questions or?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'd move to approve appropriations for the period of November 17th, 2025 to December 2nd, 2025, and authorize the chairman to sign on behalf of the commission.
I would second that motion.
Favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Right along to new business. We have Matt Potzner, County Administrator, to provide us with details about Barry, our county engineer's retirement.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
So today we want to honor our county engineer, Barry McManaman. After graduating from Pratt Community College and K-State with a degree in civil engineering, Barry became a Kansas Department of Transportation area engineer in 1984. He stayed with KDOT for over 30 years, and then his focus shifted as he was hired as the county engineer for Barton County in November of 2015. So working more than 40 years in this area, bringing in millions of dollars in grant funding to help support infrastructure in Barton County, building relationships with townships and municipalities. He's been a real asset to the county, and he's going to be greatly missed. But we're very happy for you to reach this point, and hope you enjoy your retirement. So at this time, I'll turn it over to the commissioners for any comments that you might have.
Madam Chair, a lot of people, most of you know, but Barry not only was our engineer and saved us a ton of money and got a lot of projects done that we wouldn't have done, but he stepped up to be our administrator when we needed one and did an excellent job. We tried to talk him into staying on in that role, but he was smart enough to say no. So, but no, Barry, we really appreciate it. You did a fabulous job during administrative time, as we were blessed to have you, as well as stepping up as our administrator too. And I'm glad to see you get to retire and have some fun now.
Madam Chair, I've only known Barry his last, or a little less than 3 years as an engineer, so I didn't get to know him very long, but I do admire his dedication to the county. We've got, 389 miles of blacktop and 272 bridges, I believe. 372 bridges, sorry, say, you know, and I think I could probably ask him about a bridge, and he would probably pretty much know which one it was, and not only that, but probably which way the water flows and whose land it flows onto. So I appreciate that, and it's the dedication that he does to Barton County, and also his ability to communicate with landowners. I've never had a landowner say, you know, hey, this isn't what we agreed to, or I didn't quite understand, Barry. And so he does have a good ability to compromise, maybe if you don't agree. So congratulations on your retirement and enjoy.
Well, 5 years now as a commissioner, I've never had the opportunity to work with a more astute or consummate professional than Barry McManaman in the engineering office. You know, I came from the Air Force before I was a commissioner, and the Air Force core values remind me of Barry McManaman. They are integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. I can't think of 3 better descriptive terms for Barry McManaman than those. Thank you.
Chair. I remember when Commissioner Kenny Schramer was first visiting about you and trying to recruit you and get you to come to Barton County and how highly respected you were. And as you became a Barton County employee, that certainly became true. I've enjoyed working with you. It was fun working with you as the assistant, as you were county administrator and in all capacities, and you'll be greatly missed. With that, we have a letter. Would you like for me to read the letter?
Yes, would you like to read the letter?
Letter from the commissioners to Barry. Dear Barry, we understand just how lucky we got hiring you after 30 years of local engineering with the Kansas Department of Transportation. That is a gift that has continued to benefit Barton County and the surrounding area. Your knowledge base and experience have made a difference. Having the insight into what grants are available, the technical applications that have been applied, knowing regulatory standards and assisting other municipalities. While we believe your worth is incalculable, we tried anyway and started by tabulating the receipt of over $3 million in grant funding since you were hired. We've never doubted your ability in anything, including leading the county as the interim administrator for a period. Your knowledge of our overall operations, policies, and relationships with key personnel, elected official, and the public made that experience so easy for all of us. In your 10 years with the county, you have never stopped helping us move forward. Your last act, helping to craft the expansion of US 56 to a 4-lane roadway from the east city limit of Great Bend to the K156 Junction project, is an auspicious way to end your public career. James Kip Finch said, the engineer has been and is a maker of history. You, sir, have proven him right. Congratulations on your retirement.
You have this fancy clock.
All right.
Congratulations on your years of service here at Barton County, and we appreciate everything you've done.
Maybe we should get a picture with him.
Shall we break for?
Do you want, I do the motion, make a motion.
Let's do the motion first.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move to honor Barry McManaman for his committed service to Barton County and the surrounding community for the last 40 years.
Second.
Aye.
I would like to say I do appreciate all the kind comments, and I've really valued my time down here at the county as the county engineer. You know, I worked for KDOT for so many years, over 31 years there, and I think that really prepared me for a lot of the things that I ran into here and the issues, and I've really valued not only the relationships with the coworkers that I've had, but as was mentioned, landowners and township officials, and you know, it's been a great career. No regrets. Highly appreciate my career with KDOT and with the county. And, you know, I'm just looking forward to retirement. It's going to be a great time to just move into a different phase. So, thank you all very much. I did forget to introduce my wife. I meant to do that. She's my rock. So this is Kathy. So, yeah, glad that she could make it down here.
You have a little for you yet?
Yes, that's already happened.
Oh, there's places to go. That too.
Another capacities I've served, when they forget to introduce their wives, they have to buy it for us.
Okay. It's not that far or something.
Are you gonna hold the flag?
Done.
There you go.
Let's get switched together. You good, just a little bit. There we go.
You're gonna move up there.
I'd like to play.
Okay, can everybody join me, please?
You get it?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you very much. Thank you for all your planning. We really relied on you. Okay, so moving on to item P. Resolution 2025-18, a resolution amending Article 3 of the Barton County zoning regulations, version 2. And we have Judy Gorham, environmental manager, to provide us with details.
Good morning.
Morning.
I am actually very happy to be here in front of you today with this request. About a year and a half ago, our planning commission started work on completely rewriting the wind energy regulations that were originally adopted for single-use, small-scale only in Barton County back in 2007. As you all know, we did that because of everything that went down with the solar and the prospect of commercial solar coming in, and we decided this time we'd get ahead of it and actually be proactive instead of reactive. We have the same three type things to review and approve today. We have Article 3, which are the district regulations for Barton County. There's 7 zoning districts. We aren't changing anything about the small scale single use. It has been a permitted use as a structure with its setbacks, subject to the no build zone that was originally created in 2007 around Cheyenne Bottoms. And then there are, I believe, 3 sides that were 3 miles out, and then 1 side 2 miles out for a special conditionally permitted area where we would involve Wildlife and Parks and the Nature Conservancy in the public hearing and ask for their review. Over the years, we haven't issued a whole lot of them, maybe 10 since 2007. I don't even think any of them are still functioning, but I can think of. I don't think any are. So that was kind of a flash in the pan thing that came about back then. And we were reactive then as well. That took a year to get those written. So in our zoning districts, it would be permitted in the ag district and the industrial district. And then in the rest of the districts, that use would be conditionally permitted. So that's how it's been all this time. That's how it's staying. When you get to the next type of wind turbine, it's a large scale non-commercial use. They're still the same height as a small scale. They can't be higher than that, but they can be connected to another wind turbine and used for perhaps a business, a farmstead, a subdivision. Granted, when you look at our no build area, we don't actually have a subdivision that falls in that area, but you never know. There could be a planned community that happens someday and they decide they want to use wind to help subsidize their electrical expenses. So the large scale non-commercial is conditionally permitted in every district. And every single application would have review with Nature Conservancy and Wildlife and Parks. That is standard. And then when you get to the commercial scale use, we have conditionally permitted in all of them except for what would be a residential area. So it's not permitted in the residential district. They're not permitted in the unincorporated community districts, and they're not going to be allowed in a planned community district. The commercial scale nowadays start at 800 feet tall. So they're like nothing we've ever even seen. The technology changes so rapidly that they're already on to bigger and better things. And so when you think about the prospect of something that large, you really need to be proactive and protect this. At that point, it becomes more than just protecting Cheyenne Bottoms. It becomes protecting everyone here in Barton County and securing what we value about living in the country and running a farm and that sort of thing. With that, I would ask for you to provide me comments if you have any for Article 3. If not, I would ask for a recommendation of approval.
Madam Chair, can you like explain all that in very simple terms for ease
Sure.
for the media and the.
Sure. For the next item, the actual wind regulations, I will summarize
Okay.
everything. And if you want me to do all of it and then you go back and approve, I don't care.
Or if you plan to summarize that in
Absolutely.
more simple terms, that's fine.
Absolutely.
If that's all, I'd make the motion.
Okay.
I'd move to adopt resolution 2025-18, a resolution amending Article 3 of the Barton County zoning regulations, version 2.
Second that.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item C is resolution 2025-19, a resolution amending article of the Barton County zoning regulations version 2. Sorry there. And we still have Judy.
So the next item is to update Article 8, which, as you know, we've had in our zoning regulations since 2007. When we decided to attack this project, we took the template we had used for solar that we adopted in March of 24 as our template. And we tried to create a very similar structure of regulations. But as we review each thing, consider the difference between a solar farm or a solar panel and a wind turbine. So the best summary, the best way to describe this is, of course, we still have the three types. So a small scale single use wind turbine cannot be more than 150 kilowatts of power that it generates. It cannot be taller than 120 feet tall in height, and it cannot be connected to any other wind turbine. An automatic thing to understand is that for large scale, non-commercial and small scale, these cannot be connected to the grid, period. There's no way to help subsidize or sell your energy to the power company. They do not allow them to be connected because it creates a very serious electrocution risk. So that would never be a situation. Some of the other things to consider, we have a setback for a wind turbine. It has to be 1.1 times the height of a fall zone. So it can't fall on a road, a right-of-way, a property line, a structure, a utility line, anything like that. That isn't changing. That's the same thing we've had all this time. As I'd stated, they're permitted in the ag district and industrial district and conditionally permitted in the rest. Then you have your large scale non-commercial. Again, it can't produce more than 150 kilowatts, can't be more than 120 feet tall. It has to be used for consumption by whoever's connected to it. So if it's a farmstead, the farmstead has to use it. If it's a small subdivision, that has to be equally dispersed, or a business, etc. They can't sell the energy, in other words. There are lattice type towers and guide towers, as well as pole towers that are permitted. The setback for large scale is a little different. It is 6 times the total height of the turbine for a fall zone or separation. However, you can obtain a waiver, whoever's applying for this application, whether it's a community or it's a farmstead business, if they have received a waiver from the non-participating adjoining landowners, they can come as close as 1.5 times the height. And those fall zones are all the same thing: structure, property line, road, right-of-way, easements, utility lines, all of that. One of the things we did with the 2 work studies with our county commissioners is we hashed over the pros and cons of having just structure or just residential structure. And as you guys know, you had recommended back to the Planning Commission to consider changing that to just residential structure. And when they considered that, they decided to stick with their original recommendation to you because they value all structures. And really, it's not just about people's rights, it's about the ramifications later if the land is sold or the land goes from one family to another. You could have a wind turbine right next to a $500,000 building on a farm. We're trying to be more proactive about protection. So that's why we went back with structure is the key. There can be no shadow flicker across the property line, so it has to stay within. And that would be whether they have waiver or not. No shadow flicker can leave the land. One of the things we learned, and I believe this came from Marianne Stoskoff, there was a wind turbine that was put up west of Great Bend years ago at a feedlot. And they ended up having to stop using it because the shadow flicker was affecting their horses that they were using on the facility. It didn't affect the cows, but it was spooking the horses. Let's see here. We have the same technology is going to be associated with any of these that we are going to have with large scale commercial or just commercial scale. These towers would have to be outfitted with devices that detect a strike. So if something hits the wind turbine or the blade, it stops. This is to help prevent bird kills, a whole flock of birds. They have designed this new prevention. Really, they're just black circles that randomly go on the white blades, and it helps the birds see the blade and avoid it. And then, of course, the same thing has to do with bats. I don't know that we have a lot of bat situations here in Barton County, but if we did, it would also stop if a bat hit it. 100% of these applications would be subject to conditional land use permits. They would all require input from Wildlife and Parks and the Nature Conservancy. It's likely, and this is just kind of a side note, this is not in our regulations, but it's likely that if I ever did receive an application for anything large, whether it's non-commercial or commercial scale, I will likely forward that to all of the agencies we have worked with for solar and for wind. It's not required that we get their input, but as a courtesy, I would do that. Commercial scale. So it's a little bit different animal. With commercial scale, obviously the tower has to be more than 120 feet tall. It has to produce more than 150 kilowatts. It's designed for large electrical networks, big farm. So these are clearly more than one turbine, and they're big. They start at 800 feet tall. We have a much different type setback for them. You have to be 10 times the height of the tower. No, wait a minute, I'm sorry. You have to be 1 mile. You have to be 1 mile from a non-participating landowner. So if you think about a square section, you're talking a mile. So that means they're going to have a pretty significant setback. There are options for waivers. And if the waiver happens, which would only happen really if they bought out the adjoining landowner to get them to agree, they'd still have to be 1.5 times the height of the turbine. And this 1 mile setback, because we don't know if these turbines are going to get even bigger, it's 1 mile or 10 times the height, whichever is greater. Right now, 1 mile would be further. But if these turbines get bigger, it may be the 10 times. No shadow flicker can leave the property. Of course, they have to be equipped with the identified aerial detection systems that we talked about. The EcoSense, which is for the bats. And then the other thing that's pretty significant that we'll talk about when we get to the maps is that we took the no-build area for solar and expanded it 1 mile. So it's 1 mile further out and more protective of Cheyenne Bottoms than the solar farms are. We are recommending to not have them allowed in any residential areas. So no residential district, unincorporated community district, or planned community district. Let's see here. Have I forgotten anything about commercial? And then the other thing we did, we had to take a look at the map. And as I'm sure you guys recall, when we did solar, it became extremely complicated to keep track of what we were looking at on the map, because we have the districts, we have the cities, we have the extraterritorial zoning jurisdictions, and then we had the original no build, the conditionally permitted no build for wind turbines. And we had to figure out how to show an extra mile. And so what we decided to do is we decided to take our official zoning map and turn it into 3 maps. You have the first map, which is the general district map. It shows the city limits, it shows where the zoning districts are at, and it shows where the city's extraterritorial jurisdictions are at. Then there is a crosshatched area all the way around that goes clear out to the 1 mile, larger than solar, and it says to refer to wind or to refer to solar map. The next map would be the solar map. It is exactly what you adopted in March of 24. Nothing about it has changed whatsoever. And then there would be a 1 mile barrier around it that's crosshatched that says to look at the wind map. Then when you get to the wind map, we kept the small scale, single use, no build exactly the same. The special conditional use area exactly the same. And of course, everything else is going to be conditionally permitted outside that. And it does show no build for commercial scale, 1 mile larger, and everything else is conditionally permitted. A little background, you guys probably recall, I don't know that I'd call it a circus, but it was pretty crazy when we were doing the solar. We reached out to absolutely every agency that we even knew were interested in the solar over that year and a half. I received a few emails and phone calls from just a couple people thanking me for sending it to them, and never heard anything else. And then at our public hearing, we had it here at the courthouse in anticipation of a crowd, because it was on everything, Facebook, the website, the paper, all the papers in the county. And we had Curtis Wolf from Kansas Wildlife and Parks there. And we had Commissioner Dwayne Rife was at the meeting. And that was our others that came to the public hearing. So, you know, it was kind of anticlimactic for us because we were ready for opposition. But I think really what it does is it shows how happy the general public is with what we've put together. That's what I would like to think. I use that same assumption when I do any kind of public hearing with our planning commission or zoning appeals board. If you don't have people there speaking out or calling you or writing you, they're not worried about whatever it is you're getting ready to approve. So with that, do you have any questions for me?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I think there is a lot of satisfaction with the work that the zoning committee and you do. I think that that was proven with solar. They knew how methodical and careful you guys were. So I think that that shows in this instance.
Commissioners, if I was going to ask, try to summarize this for the public, I would probably say that it has a larger no build zone than solar. It has a lot of restrictions to protect existing uses and non-participating landowners. And it also requires the conditional use permit on top of that. So that to me are at least some takeaways.
Very simple, thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yeah, so how many leases for large-scale commercial wind do you know about in Barton County right now? I think it's 0.
So we don't know of any, but what we do know when we were messing with solar, we know that the landowners that did sign contracts for solar, they were for solar or wind. And we don't, I mean, none of us know what Tenaska has done with that whole project after they bought it back from Acciona. For all we know, they're continuing to lease this ground. We don't know.
And how tall did you say some of these wind turbines are?
They start now at 800 feet tall.
Okay, and for reference, the high rise in Great Bend is what, 100, 110 feet, something like
I
that?
don't know.
Maybe it's 150 feet.
About in that range.
You know.
Close.
The current wind energy systems up along I-70, Russell County and that are 600 feet tall.
So it'd be a couple 100 feet taller than the ones on I-70.
Mhm.
Or the KSM, TV tower, north of them.
I think that's 1,000.
It's 1,000 foot.
That's 1,000 foot tall.
It was as tall as the KSN tower, basically.
Almost.
Well, when I say 800, that would be to the tip of the wing.
That's where it starts, is also what you said.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you said they don't make the 600s anymore.
Not that we know of, no. They're obsolete now. And I actually, my husband and I just went to Auburn for Thanksgiving, and so we saw very clear, bright day, all of those wind turbines along I-70, most of them are black. You can tell they've got issues with oil and not working. So it kind of makes sense. I think those have been there 15, 20 years. They're just obsolete. They're coming up with everything new. In fact, we found out when we did the solar regulations, from the time we started until we finished, that technology had changed on the solar panel material and design. It's just, it changes all the time.
Well, so I think that what I was getting to here is that what I would like to see happen, and I'm only one commissioner, so I'm just gonna throw it out. I'd like to see large-scale, non-commercial wind energy conversion systems and commercial-scale wind energy conversion systems banned. And I would like to see the regulations loosened up on agriculture, on single, whatever we're calling it was.
Small scale, single use.
That's what I was gonna say. Yes, small scale, single use. Thank you. And I don't want anyone to confuse what I'm saying with me saying I'm at odds with the Planning and Zoning Commission, because these guys did a magnificent job and I think they should be recognized. Can you at least introduce them? for us?
Absolutely. So my chairman is Jim Welch.
There's
I have-
Jim,
I have Penny Gullett
Penny,
and Marianne Stoskoff that are here today.
Mary Ann. Yes.
3 of my planning commissioners have been on this board longer than I've worked at the county. So they don't like it when I give a number, but it's more than 20. And the rest of them, with the exception of, I believe, 3, have all been here close to 10 years already.
How many members is on your board again?
9.
And I had mentioned this to one of the planning and zoning commissioners at one point, maybe multiple. And I said, are we wasting your time? If I was to throw out a ban on the big stuff, are we wasting your time? Absolutely not, is what they told me. They said, we are here to write regulations. We're not here to suggest or propose bans. If we want to ban something, that's our job to do that. They have done their job. So I don't know how to even formulate this motion or this thought or what we do with what I just said from here, but
If I could interject,
I suppose.
we of course knew that that conversation had happened when we started this project. And so that's why we have 3 distinct separate sections of the wind regulations article. Each one, first one is small scale single use, then there's large scale non-commercial, and then there's commercial scale. Specifically, so that if you chose to ban, you would simply be banning those 2 sections of the document. You'd approve the document with the exception of those 2 sections.
So item B that we already approved was for the single
You
use.
just haven't approved anything yet.
What did we approve? Just
You're just hearing all 3 things at once.
They made a motion to.
Oh, I'm
amended
sorry.
Article 3,
I'm so sorry. Yes, you did.
3.
and that was the small scale single use.
That was all 3 types
History
in
regulation.
the district regulations.
That's the one that split them into 3 spots.
No,
No.
the article splits it into 3 spots. Article 8. Article 3 says what's permitted and what's conditionally permitted, what the setbacks are for every zoning district. Every zoning district is created the same way. It's either allowed or it's not, or it's conditionally permitted.
Ask the other commissioners what they think of what I said and see if we have enough support to do that or if we should move on.
Madam Chair, and I understand what Commissioner Hutchinson's saying and do respect that. In just taking the whole thing into consideration, I like the way that they have it wrote, and I think they protected the county in just that. And so I personally would just like to move to adopt the resolution, but I want to hear from the other commissioners because I'd be okay with the banning too, but I think that the way that you guys have it wrote protects enough. It's almost to the point of banning it. And I love the fall zone. I like everything that you guys have put into it because I've been recently working on a hearing on these matters that had gone to a small claims hearing and they didn't have these regulations. So it's got them into a little bit of trouble. So you guys have really done a good job protecting Barton County.
I think my point is that if we're gonna write regulations that are almost banning it, we might as well just ban it. I think that's kind of what I'm saying. But-
Hear what?
Yeah.
So for clarification, so you're wanting to ban large scale non-commercial and large scale commercial.
Large scale, non-commercial, can you explain that for us?
They're the smaller turbines. They can't be more than 120 feet tall and they can't produce more than 150 kilowatts of energy. So they're the exact same size
You can
as
just
a small scale, but there's more than one.
marry them together. See, I
Multiples.
wouldn't want to ban large scale non-commercial.
I think that would take some farmsteads out of the equation. The most practical thing would be the farmsteads.
My intention is to ban 800-foot wind turbines in
Large.
Barton County.
Large scale commercial,
Yeah.
and be on board.
Commercial scale.
The other part that we, in our research or whatever, there are different technologies that do not use like the single pole and the big blades. There are some that are vertical and they spin horizontally. There's different technologies out there. I mean, for a house or whatever, you can go buy one online or whatever. That's a smaller one that I don't know whether it works. I don't know whether it's worth it or not, but there are some different technologies that aren't just what we would typically think of as the wind turbines, for at least for the smaller ones. Some of them start at 40 feet and go on up.
I might just mention, since this is a recommendation from planning and zoning, so it can be adopted with a simple majority vote. It can be returned for more consideration with the majority vote, but to amend it today requires a 4/5.
If you change our recommendation, you have to have 4 of the 5.
If we were to ban large scale commercial, would we need to rescind our motion on item B and do
Yes.
more and clarify that?
When we first started talking about this, I think I told one of the planning and zoning, and I said, hey, I'd be all in favor of banning it. And when I went to the hearing that you guys had, there was no landowners there. So to me, that was kind of confusing, because I thought there'd be a lot of pushback on any of it.
We can assume a couple of things. We can assume they're just not worried about it, and we can assume it's because none of them have leases anymore. I mean, we don't know.
Yeah, correct. We don't know.
Don't know.
You know, personally, I don't like the 800 foot. But there was no landowners there, and to give their opinions. And I guess that's what really kind of confused me, but I guess I'm not for sure where I'm going with this, but I'd be fine with banning the 800 foot. I still would, even though I didn't get any feedback at all from it, and which I thought I would.
Likewise, I did not receive one phone call, so.
And I feel like the commercial one is written kind of like a ban. I mean, with its setbacks and the utility lines and the property lines, the mile lines, it is written in effectively like it is a ban. Like it would be really, really, really hard to accommodate.
I agree with you.
All the
It would be really hard. They would have to buy up leases, huge area of leases in order to make something like that happen.
And
And you'd almost have to be where there's no structures, no houses.
I'm not sure that there's a part of Barton County that you could, maybe far north, but
Maybe in the northwest.
but you're still gonna have roads, and then you're gonna have right of way, and you're gonna have utility lines,
You're gonna have oil wells.
and you're gonna have oil wells. So I mean, like, I would
Exactly.
question if there's any part of the county that would fit in that. So in effect, it is a ban.
Right. I agree with that also, because that was my thought. I don't know where you would build these or have them,
large one.
the large ones. The 150 foot, I think it's everybody's right if for the farmstead, if they want to put one up. Because with technology, I think someday it'll probably be worthwhile doing that. But the large ones, I don't know where you would, but I agree with you, Commissioner, that we're almost banning them if we do okay it, because I don't know where they would do it.
Yeah, I mean, in effect, it would be interpreted as a ban.
I've always been told if you're trying to ban something through regulation, you're better off just banning it.
Well, then,
You know what I mean?
I guess.
It keeps the rules more clear. Everybody can look at that and say, okay, look, it's banned, sorry. Versus, well, let's read 14 pages of regulations to realize that it's banned.
It'd be easier to understand, just it's banned.
And I
Yeah,
guess
right.
we had that discussion about where I felt on agriculture, it was in effect a ban because you can't put it where it would be needed, you can't put it.
Then let's ban the big ones and revisit the small ones. I think everybody gets very nervous when they talk about 800-foot wind turbines.
Correct.
If we eliminate that from the discussion, maybe that makes the rest of the conversation easier. I don't know. Just a thought.
Madam Chair, I'll put a motion on the table. You guys can consider it. I would move to rescind the motion to adopt resolution 2025-18, a resolution amending Article 3 of the Barton County zoning regulations version 2, and move to adopt resolution 2025-18, a resolution amending Article 3 of the Barton County zoning regulations version 2 with the elimination of large-scale commercial. I don't know if that's
Commercial scale,
large
commercial scale. Large
commercial
scale, non-commercial is a type and commercial scale is big.
commercial scale.
Say that again.
So confused. I'll second that so we can have further discussion.
Rescinded. Motion to rescind what we had done earlier, and then a motion to approve that with the elimination of large-scale commercial. Am I saying that right?
Commercial scale.
Sorry, which one you want to eliminate? The commercial?
Commercial
or the
scale.
Last one.
800 or
Large, large.
No, on the table.
And you seconded it, right, Commissioner?
Basically,
Yes.
and I second it. She's saying
Yes.
to take item B, rescind it, replace it again with eliminating the big ones from that, and then we would have to move then to ban. Right? I mean, because that's not gonna automatically ban them.
When you get to the next item, which is Article 8, you make a recommendation to ban commercial scale. Right.
Do away with it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But that still doesn't address that.
I think we have to revisit that.
Patrick.
Yes, ma'am.
Can they make a recommendation to approve an article and at the same time ask the planning commission to reconsider parts of it?
Are you talking about like the different like in the same?
Setbacks, the setbacks affecting small scale, single use in the ag district.
They could do that unless it's can be, is it clear what they're doing? I mean, as long as it's clear what they approved and what they haven't.
I think what Tricia's suggesting is to have more lenient fall zones for single use, small scale. For example, when there's the center pivot on a quarter of ground, to have it in the corner where nothing can be cultivated or built. Currently, you couldn't do that because the turbine would fall across the road or the property line.
Most corners are close.
Hmm.
I mean, it is, what I see more and more with agriculture every day is more and more rules and regulations that prevent them from progressing, doing their jobs,
Mhm.
you know. So I don't want to support making more regulations for agriculture that will make their job harder.
But I think you mentioned something earlier that really made me start thinking about the farms. Somebody has a $500,000 building. I think you use that as an example.
Pretty much what they cost to make a big, huge building anymore.
And so that if that person that puts up that $500,000 building wants to put a wind turbine beside it, we're saying, no, you can't do that.
That's
And-
correct. That's what we're recommending you approve.
And your example was, what if they sold the farm, right, to somebody else? Okay. Well, if they sold the farm to somebody else, the person that bought the farm knew that wind turbine was beside that shed and they could take that wind turbine down if they were worried about it. So that's where I'm kind of in agreement on the ag protection here.
I mean, and the other, you know, it's not just farmsteads and I don't know that technology's not there yet maybe, but it's also like, what if you want to put one at the feed yard? And I know there's shadow flicker and there's horses and all those things, but you can't put it miles away from a feed yard, but your energy consumption will be at your grain bins and at your flaker. So you would need your wind tower there.
And they did have it there.
Yeah.
But it created too much problem for the horses.
But that was their.
Exactly.
That's their
Right.
problem, not ours.
Use horses anymore. They've gotten away from them.
But if they want to, and they want to spook their horses, they have the right to do that.
Sure.
You know, so.
But I mean, these are additional regulations that we're putting on an industry that's already strapped with regulations and is already suffering.
So the only part to that concerns me, you could get an adjoining landowner or an participating landowner to write a waiver. How do you waive a utility line or a township road or a county blacktop Don't those entities have to agree to waive?
And I don't know what example, my example is the one that I was thinking of, like, if you want to build a turbine beside your building.
And I'm more referring to Tricia's.
Yeah, I know you are, and I'm not sure
Sure.
how to answer that one.
Have a lot of electric poles.
Sure, and easements. They have road right of ways. Things that,
Question. Go ahead, Marion.
Commissioners, I would remind you that we have had the small scale, single use regulations on the books since 2007. And we have never had an application for a waiver. We have never had, we've never had complaints. There've been inquiries and that kind of thing, but those regulations that you're referring to for small scale, single use have been on the books since 2007. We're not changing those. We're basically separating out these other two. The large scale non-commercial, and they're not in a location where it would work because of Cheyenne Bottoms, but I would give you the example of Essex, who wants to be a
Zero carbon.
zero carbon or whatever. If they were located in the right place, this might be one of the, and in fact, they have inquired about putting up towers there that they could use. And that's where the large scale non-commercial might come in. If you had a business or a community that decided that they wanted to do this. And I think that's happened in other counties. But I would remind you that the small scale single use regulations are not new regulations. They're not additional regulations. They are the same regulations that we've had on the books since 2007.
and large scale non-commercial is the same size. It's just more than one connected.
It's the small ones.
Yeah, they're small.
Sorry, I have to just keep
It's
that
fine.
in mind.
It's a lot to keep
I
track.
bet.
And so if we had a farm that wanted to put up two, once they connect them together to run something together, then
They go through a conditional use process.
They'd be the large
but
scale.
then they go to large scale non-commercials.
You know, another thing I thought about, on a big farm, you could have one turbine that's providing energy to the house. And then you could potentially have another one that's providing energy to a big cattle operation up by a building or something, but they're not connected. Those are two separate small scale, single use wind turbines. In my interpretation. Haven't ever had that happen, but it could.
Second.
Understand the motion?
comment, and then we can move on to the next one.
I think the most important thing is this.
Or unless Commissioner Zimmerman wants to rescind it. Otherwise, we could vote on it.
Madam Commissioner, the other thing is that, and I don't know what the official interpretation is now, but when we started with wind energy regulations back in 2006, the reason we did that was because we had a business that wanted to sell them in the county, and the county counselor basically interpreted the zoning regulations that if it was not included in there, then it was not permitted.
Yeah, that's actually written verbatim in Article 2. It specifically says if it's not specifically listed, it's prohibited.
If it's not listed as a permitted or a conditional use, which your motion takes it out, takes commercial scale out of the conditional uses in all the zoning districts, then it's not permitted,
The large ones.
the commercial scale. So that's to keep in mind when you're doing that motion.
So there wouldn't need to be a follow-up motion to ban it.
Oh, yeah, we'd have to do all three things.
Well, you wouldn't be moving to ban it, in my interpretation. You'd
Oh, I
just
would.
be, in this particular case, you'd say it's, you're essentially saying that. And
But it's
then when
just
you
not
get to the,
permitted.
then when you get to the rest of the the other two articles of the zoning regulations, then you would be deleting anything
Right, you would omit
applicable
that
to
section.
that particular commercial scale in this instance.
I would still move the ban. Commercial scale.
I do want to clarify one thing. So Marianne said that those regulations for small scale were already on the books. I'm not sure that I would have voted for them as they're written had I been a commissioner at that time. So I understand from our meetings that we had that they were already on the books and that we're not changing that portion.
I remember correctly, not all 5 of them approved it.
Yeah.
It happened, but I don't think all 5.
I mean, so I guess I keep bringing it up and I know they've already been on the books, but I also don't know that I support the way they are currently. Just because, again, regulations. So does everyone understand the motion?
When I say it again, I think
Maybe
the
you should
motion
say it
was,
again.
I thought the motion was to undo the previous vote on that resolution and then to also adopt everything that the planning commission has presented except for removing
Commercial scale.
Commercial scale.
In Article 3 of the zoning regulations.
This would require 4/5 because it's a change from what was recommended.
Yes.
You look confused.
But I guess I'm sure with the question.
I'll say I was gonna get a cup of coffee before the meeting and I missed my chance. Very much.
You did that.
Or discussion? You want me to call this vote?
Any?
Commercial scale. Commercial scale.
It's gonna give us the opportunity to ban commercial scale on the
In
next.
the next step.
Okay. I heard that.
It's a lot.
Okay, I'd be good.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Those opposed?
Aye.
Just the harder part of the meeting.
Yeah.
So you're accepting the change or any of the regulations regarding the small scale, non-commercial and the large scale, non-commercial as they were presented by the planning commission.
For Article 3 of the zoning regulations,
Article 3.
which
Okay,
was
so
the 7 zoning districts.
Okay,
It lists out in plain English what's permitted and not permitted. I'm sorry, what's permitted and conditionally permitted in the 7 zoning districts.
those two types, okay.
Correct.
Gotcha. Okay, then that's, okay, gotcha,
And 4 of the 5 said yes.
gotcha.
So then, we'd be ready for a motion on item C.
This is Article 8.
Item C is resolution 2025-19. Understand.
Which is what we've already discussed that one.
Okay.
So do you want me to offer a motion? Item C? Oh, you want to? You don't need to, Dan, if you want to do it, Dan?
I think it's the clearest way
It's
to do it.
cleaner if you do.
So we do want to do that as a separate motion after we work all the way down through here?
We've worked all the way down through it. I've explained the article,
Sure.
which is the wind regulations.
Okay. Are you all in one motion?
So like, but item D, item will change, correct?
Yes, and item C, yeah.
Yes, so we would have to,
Give me 1 second, I want to look for something.
Judy, could you recommend a motion that would be consistent with what they just did?
Yes, I can. As soon as I find the right spot. Okay. So my recommendation would be that you move to approve Article 8 as presented with the exception of Section 8-400, which are the regulations for commercial scale wind energy conversion systems, and omit them in their entirety.
Judy, the only problem with that is that all throughout this article, there are references to the commercial scale.
I'd have to remove them.
So at some point you'd have to.
Mhm. Our resolutions have a statement at the end that says to have the zoning administrator make whatever necessary in the zoning books and document it. I think that standard statement is in every one of our resolutions. Look here. Further, that the secretary of the planning board is hereby directed to have said revisions published in the official county newspaper and be reflected in the Barton County zoning regulations version 2. That statement's in every single resolution I bring to you, which means I have to do whatever you approve. And if I have to fix things, I fix them
So what point do we include the words ban commercial scale?
whenever you want.
And can we do what you just said and then add the words and also ban commercial scale?
Or
With
just say which in effect bans them in Barton County.
Can you add that to that motion? So moved.
I'll second that, Martha.
Okay, so Bev should read back said motion so that we can have discussion about it.
Can Judy read back said motion?
Move to approve Article 8 as submitted, with the exception of Section 8-400, Commercial Scale Wind Energy Conversion System Regulations, to be omitted, which bans them in Barton County.
We should have some discussion on that.
It's the same thing. we've been talking
And-
about.
It's basically the same thing. And the reason that I voted against it and then I'll of course vote against this as well, is that I like the way that it was written because I feel like if I vote for the ban, I boldly could restrict landowners' rights that I'm not thinking about. And so that's my only reason. I don't have I agree and I understand what my fellow commissioners are doing. And it's not that I disagree with them. I just don't want to restrict someone's rights of something that I'm not thinking about. And so that's my only reason. I respect, and that's why there's 5 of us. So completely understand.
Where's Keith? He wants to see Cindy vote.
I just, well, we haven't had a dissenting vote for a long time, so.
And I think you're wrong. No.
And I could be, but no, that's my only opinion, but I think the way that it's been mentioned is perfect.
I mean, and I agree with you. I just feel like the regulations we had written were in effect a ban.
Basically, they are.
And that's where it goes back.
The land's all sectioned out by 1 mile by 1 mile and your setbacks are 1 mile.
I feel like
How do
we're
you-
protecting them already. I just don't want to a ban completely takes away maybe something I'm not thinking about. And that's where I'm going with it. Other than that, I mean, I think we've already protected it very well, and the case that I've been involved with is completely wouldn't happen here because of the way you guys have written it. So it's perfect.
So a little side note to just consider, and Patrick, please correct me if I'm incorrect. If you had a landowner, a group of landowners that came to you in 5 years and said, hey, we have the perfect spot, but we can't even think about doing this, you can certainly direct the planning commission to review Article 8 with the inclusion of commercial scale back on the books. And they will have to do that and bring you a recommendation, and you could vote on it again.
See, I appreciate that comment because I'm all for the landowners. I mean, there's rights they have to, and we're mainly agriculture community. And there's a lot of open space out there, and there's a chance maybe someday we'll be able to have different, well, with technology and things, there's bound to be things change. So if we could revisit it, I'd be very comfortable
If
with
you
that.
asked to revisit it.
Right.
Had landowners that wanted you to
Correct.
pursue it. I might also comment that in 2006, that's exactly what happened. We had a businessman here in Barton County that had gone to California and purchased a bunch of refurbished wind turbines and wanted to start selling them to people in Barton County. Well, he couldn't. But what resulted is us writing regulations that did permit it. you know, with lots of consideration. We did it. We also did that same thing when there was individuals that wanted horse racing in the county. We did it then too.
I'm
So,
just not sure we should do a ban if we have regulations. I don't know. Written already.
Patrick, can you weigh in on that? I mean, if we're writing regulations that effectively ban something, what's better? Have a bunch of regulations or a ban?
I guess that's a bit of a, I mean, it's a bit of a legislative interpretation, being it's your guys' decision. If the goal is, if the true goal is to ban it, if you think, if you want to go out and tell people, hey, we banned this because we don't want it to happen, you should vote to ban it. There have been several Kansas counties that have done it, so it's gone through the whole, it's been litigated whether or not you can do it. You clearly can. Of course, you don't have to. But, you know, if the rules are so difficult to follow that they're effectively banned, you know, there'd be an argument to just go ahead and say, hey, they're just not going to be available here.
That's all I'm saying. You know, I'm not trying to say that we should restrict people's landowners' rights. I mean, either way we go, we're restricting the rights. And so by saying that these big, huge wind turbines are banned in Barton County, that's pretty clear. Otherwise, we say, well, yeah, you can do it, but if this, then this, and this, then that, then that, and this, and actually, you really can't do it. So.
I think we're
Might as well just-
very fortunate in Barton County that we have Cheyenne Bottoms and the National Flyway, of national importance. And so I think for that reason, you know, this sends a message that how much we care about that and want to protect migratory birds.
and our way of life. Cringe when I drive down I-70.
And another thing. The Planning and Zoning Commission is recommending that we ban this, okay? That's what they're doing. This is their way of doing that. They just don't write, we recommend you ban. They have to write out regulations. That's the way it was,
That is
that's the way it
correct.
was explained to me. So we're not stepping on their toes right now. We're doing exactly what they want us to do.
It's not our job to send you a recommendation to not allow something.
I do question though, if we would have made the headline, commissioners are going to vote to ban wind in Barton County, that we wouldn't have got some phone calls from someone. And I guess if we didn't, then we would have known for sure. But I think sometimes people get bogged down with 72 pages of regulations and they're like, well, I guess they're gonna let it happen. It didn't go out on the wire as we're gonna vote today to ban commercial scale wind energy.
But it is on the agenda and everybody knows that. And we're live streaming.
So I wonder if you get different phone calls. And
Let's find out.
find out.
We get more phone calls.
The other opportunity that they all had to voice their opinion and nobody did.
Not one.
Nobody
Not a
did.
single one.
Not even Doc Witt. Bless his heart, he did not. Call.
Well, I think we know how it feels.
So, I believe it helped that we followed the same structure as the solar. Very often there's crickets in here.
It's looking right.
Where are we at? We have a motion and a second on the table.
Second. So,
I'll go ahead and second it.
it's been.
It's been seconded.
Okay.
We just need a vote.
Call the vote, Chair.
Call vote. You guys done discussing? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
I'm gonna go opposed with Barton.
Oh, my gosh.
So,
So back to the beginning.
yeah,
Okay. Officially, okay, yeah. It's 3-2, 3-2.
So it did not. So another motion is in order then, I would imagine. Is that correct?
well, Yeah, it has, so since it didn't pass, I mean, I guess your options are to have a motion to approve it as presented or to send it back.
Send
Or
it
to
back.
try again in some other direction, which I don't know would be.
Would we have to go back to item B
Yeah.
again?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't understand why you would approve Article 8, I'm sorry, Article 3, not approve Article 8.
Go back and forth because I think the regulations are in essence a ban. In my opinion, from day one, I felt that way since we read them through the first time on commercial scale, because I think it does tightly restrict. But I also feel like if we put it out there that we were gonna ban them, we might have got different feedback.
But there would have been no way to do that, Tricia, because I had to publish what we were doing, which is sending you recommendations to approve what we've created. And we can't create something that says, let's ban commercial scale and still do our job properly.
So solutions oriented, if we want to give it more time, I think you could table it. That'd be one option.
And then.
Or you could send it back, but then you'd make them have they'd at least have to have a
No,
meeting.
I'd say, could we table it and then discuss?
Yeah.
And then come back with the same,
I've discussed this in the.
I know you have.
Get a bunch of city books today.
These 4/5 ones are funny because there's the possibility that no one can agree.
Yeah.
But I don't know what'll happen today.
So if we did move to table these items, we'd be tabling them for 2 weeks because we're not here next week. So that's.
So a little side note, I'm having surgery on the 12th and I will be rendered incapable of using this hand. And I am right-handed, so I will be severely handicapped if you do it again in 2 weeks. I would love you guys to make a decision. So I can be done thinking about wind.
I tell you what, let's just go back to the beginning and rescind the last motion that Donna made on item B. And replace it with move to adopt resolution 2025-18, a resolution amending Article 3 of the Barton County zoning regulations version 2,
As presented,
as presented.
Second that.
There we go.
Question.
I just would, so I think we're all on the same page. This, to pass this with 3 votes, it's adopted.
yes,
Yeah.
one more has to.
Commissioner Hutchinson, let me understand this. So he just moved to adopt resolution 2025-18 as it was presented. And then
Which-
take care of it down here.
Yeah,
correct?
well, and we're just gonna
that
effectively
will
ban
go.
it without banning it, right? That's what we want to do.
Yeah, what you're doing is you're accepting what we're presenting, which is 3 separate types of wind turbines.
On
in Barton
B.
County.
Yeah, we'll just go back and do it the way it was presented and
Because I think we could have 100% then. I mean,
Time will tell if the regulations are too strict.
mhm.
We never ever thought there'd be a solar farm anywhere near us, but while we were in the middle of doing this, Pawnee County approved, I believe, a 2,200 acre solar facility.
With 20-acre battery storage.
Yes, and where they did it, couldn't be better. Literally in the middle of nowhere. There's no houses, no farms, nothing. The perfect place. Maybe there is a perfect place in Barton County. I don't know.
So from my reading of the regulations, it would require a place that was relatively unpopulated with extremely high support from the people in the area.
Correct.
That would be what it would.
Participating people.
Yeah, particularly, like you'd have to have an overwhelming amount of people that were in the affected area before.
On the subject land as well as the surrounding
Yeah,
land.
yeah.
A mile out.
And then they'd still have to follow all the processes.
Yes.
I didn't mean to make this so difficult. I just wanted to ban 800-foot wind turbines in Barton County. That's it.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second on the table for the move to adopt resolution 2025-18, a resolution amending Article 3 of the Barton County zoning regulations version 2,
And rescinding the earlier motion, right?
Yeah.
and rescinding the earlier motion.
Basically starting over right,
on item B.
on item B.
And we have a second. We have any more discussion?
This is the first.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, motion passes.
I did not get either of you.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes, we both.
Sorry.
Yes,
And then, Madam Chair,
yes.
item C, I'd move to adopt resolution 2025-19, a resolution amending Article 8 of the Barton County zoning regulations, version 2.
Do we have a second? Do
I'll second that.
we have any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay. Motion carries. Item D, resolution amending the official Barton County zoning map.
We talked about what the three maps are. If you were to stay consistent, you would approve these three maps.
Madam Chair, I would move to adopt resolution 2025-20, a resolution amending the official Barton County zoning map.
Should we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. If it turns out you get a lot of feedback from this being live streamed and media here, you can always tell us if you now want to consider something.
That's our hope, to maybe get some feedback.
Yeah.
And,
That.
Maybe this is the time I just want to appreciate the Planning and Zoning Board and Committee for all their hours of work. I'd hate to think how many hours they spent on all these 72 pages.
January would be 3 years ago, we started with solar.
Yes.
A rough 3 years.
Literally probably our hardest
fulfilling.
board.
It feels good to have
Sure.
done this.
As you can see, it's hard to get it right.
It
I
is.
mean, even the 5 of us up here are having a hard time getting it right today. So,
And we were
Good job.
presented with this plan, over a month ago. And I think we all studied it, and you guys did an amazing job.
Couldn't do it without my planning commission. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Okay, item E, legislative issues, the KAC policy statement. We have Matt Foster to present details.
Morning, Commissioners. So on December 9th, 2025, county officials will meet at the Kansas Association of Counties Annual Conference. An important item that will be discussed is the KAC Legislative Policy Statement. Member counties will be called to review the issues and determine the platform's final form. It will then be utilized during the upcoming legislative session to promote issues related to county government. Each year, Barton County reviews and considers the KAC platform and other initiatives that may have local interests. And I would just ask that you consider approval, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Madam Chair, I just think that the platform that's put forward it looks good, and I think that legislation will be working very hard this year on a lot of issues. And we'll be supportive of this platform. So unless anybody else has any discussion, I'll make a motion. Madam Chair, move to approve the 2026 KAC Legislative Policy Statement and support for the document at the KAC Annual Conference.
And I'll second it.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item F, District Coroner, appointment of special deputy coroners, and we have Matt Potsner to present details.
So Dr. Patrick Stiles was first appointed as the district coroner effective November 1st, 2020. That term has now been extended to 2026. Dr. Stiles requests that the following persons be appointed as special deputy coroners for a term ending 12/31/2026. I'll go through the list here. For Barton County, Dustin Daniels; Barton County, Scott Fleming; Barton County, Megan Kern; Barton County Sheila Phillips, Barton County Melissa Prosser, Barton County John Stedinger, Barton County Laura Webster, Ellsworth County Nathaniel Florian, Ellsworth County Sean McGowan, Russell County Chris Venters, Russell County Ashley Sterline, Stafford County Jill Burbank, Stafford County Melissa Dove, and Stafford County Doris Tompkins. We just ask you to consider appointment of the special deputy coroners.
Madam Chair, I think these are very qualified individuals, and I'd like to make a motion unless there's some more discussion. Okay, move to appoint the following special deputy coroners as stated as on the list.
Second that.
Thank you.
Advisory Committee.
Good morning, Commissioners. Our Barton County Health Advisory Committee was formed in 1987, 38 years ago, because it was a requirement of our family planning grant that we had this committee. This committee currently is comprised of 9 members, non-compensated 2-year terms. We meet monthly, and there is no voting privilege given to this committee. They basically provide us with guidance, recommendation, assistance, and support. So we had 5 open positions that are effective January 1st. And those 5 are, first one, John Stedinger, and he is a current member. He submitted an application. He's very active in our community. He's been 40 years with the Great Bend Fire EMS, 5.5 years with the Sheriff's Office. He provides our CPR training for our staff at our department. Barbara Shirk is also a current member, and she is a nurse. She volunteers at Birthright and at the food bank. She was a school nurse serving special needs, and she has a lot of insight into our community needs. Third one is Dr. Mike Malone, and he too is a current member. He has been a veterinarian in our community for 46 years. He is also our Barton County veterinarian consultant for the health department. He has served in many capacities, even at the state level on the veterinarian board. He has applied. We also have Dr. Smith, who is a current member. He is active, very active in our community. He has also served as providing services for our family planning program over the years. He is on the board for Family Crisis Center and also for the Center for Counseling. And the 5th one is Tracy Post, another current member who has submitted an application. And she is a nurse, 22 years. She has inpatient, outpatient experience. She is currently on the faculty at Fort Hays State University, teaching undergraduate courses for the past 7.5 years. Very active in our community and in our youth sports population. So I'm bringing those 5 to you today to be considered for a reappointment to our committee for 2-year terms. Yes.
Madam Chair. Yes. I move to appoint Dr. Michael Long, Tracy Post, Barbara Shirk, Dr. Perry Smith, and Don Stedinger for the Health Department Advisory Committee. The uncompensated positions term December 31, 2027.
Yes.
I'll second that and vouch for all of them.
Discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
Need for executive session? Being none. Any business after new items heard by the commission, the following items will be heard. Following the close of the agenda meeting, the commission will consider the authorization of personnel changes for classified positions, sign any documentation approved during the agenda meeting, or sign any other documentation required for regular county business. Similar action may take place throughout the day. Kansas Association of Counties will hold its annual meeting December 9th through the 11th, 2025 in Wichita, Kansas. In addition to determining legislative policy, individual associations will meet to discuss county needs. The annual meeting is headquartered at the Hyatt Regency and Century 2 Convention Center, 400 West Waterman, Wichita, Kansas. Included therein is the annual policy meeting with the Kansas Natural Resource Coalition and Kirk and Michael Appreciation Dinner. As a result, there'll be no commission meeting that week. Next meeting of the commission will be December 16th, 2025. Subject to change, the following appointments have been scheduled. 9:45 or close the agenda meeting, planning meeting with media consultants, 10 a.m. program update with Karen Winkleman, 10:30 program update with Brooke Hallmark, CKCT director, and 11 regular business discussion with Matt Foster, county administrator, noon luncheon with the commission and Hanneman, and then county edition KVGB AM Thursdays at 11:05. Our Sheriff Brian Bellendier is scheduled for this. Usually for the commissioners.
Madam Chair, I do have an invitation for everybody. Chapter 16, which is the Oxford House alumni, they are having a chili raffle feed, and it will be December. It'll be there'll be speakers. First of all, they have speakers of people on recovery, which is pretty interesting and good to listen to. And they'll have raffle. That's Saturday, December 13th at 7 p.m. at the First Church of the Nazarene at 4811 Broadway Avenue here in Great Bend, and it's $5, and the money goes towards Christmas presents, towards for children that their parents may be in jail or just recently going into an Oxford house and trying to get their life together. And so it just helps give those kiddos a good Christmas. So anybody that wants to do this, I have a little poster, and I think there's one out on our bulletin board too. Thanks.
We did schedule, I'm sure this will go out in announcements, but since it will be the same day as our regular meeting, we scheduled the meeting for the soil type change.
Thank you.
And it's going to be in Ellenwood, on the 16th at 6 p.m. And they will be getting out notices to all the landowners affected by what kind of soil type changes?
It's the Carlisle soil. And yeah, and there's a little clarification on that. And be interesting if Patrick Hoffman caught this too. And I hadn't called Commissioner Slasinger back, but I thought that the valuation increase on this soil type was for 2026. And so I couldn't understand. I called property valuation department. I said, why can't we have this meeting after Christmas and things settle down for people? And he said, well, because tax bills will be going out. I said, but this is for next year, isn't it? And so no, so this increase, so the valuations that ag and farmers got last March. So the increase, if your land went up, and primarily the soil type is in the southeast area of our county, could be other places. So if you look back and your valuation went up, then you could have had the soil type. Well, the reason that I was a little disappointed is why didn't we have this meeting last year around March when values went out? But anyway, I guess, and I do realize people don't always look at their valuation notices, but in my experience, ag people do. Farmers pay attention to what's going on and they do look at their valuations. So I'm sure our appraiser and I haven't asked her probably had some hearings as a result of that increase. But and true, people a lot of times don't realize until they see their tax bill and it went up. So that's why they wanted to have it now. And that's, they explained to me, we're doing it now for people when they're getting their tax statements and they went up, and we're going to explain this increase. So the meeting will be good. It's just that it's for 2025 value, not the value coming out.
Yes.
Barb, does this mean in plain English that if you have Carlisle
Mhm.
soil, you are more productive as a farmer?
And not necessarily. But so K-State, and that's a very good question, Judy. They do research and they look at 8 years and then it lags behind 2 years. So what was explained to me is this soil type, the valuation of it went up some time ago, and the state of Kansas was trying to stair step it into its increase, and they weren't catching up. And so they decided to just go ahead and put it where its value, its ag use, because it's use. It might be how many cattle can graze on it. Don't mistake it with what it would sell for. A lot of people do that. It may be how much it could produce and the expenses. So it's a use value over the 8 years, which lags behind 2 years. So what they're doing is they're saying that type, for whatever reason, was undervalued.
Interesting. It helps me understand Tricia's point of view. Farmers.
Mhm.
ag people.
And you could have that on your land too. It's not just,
Rain.
yes.
Southeast corner, so that's why
Yeah.
we put the meeting in Ellenwood, but yeah, they should have already seen the increase.
Yep, they would have seen it last year. And we'll have to ask our county appraiser if she saw an increase in hearings due to it. And if they didn't, and keep in mind too, with this meeting, this is the helpful part about it being now. If they didn't appeal in the spring, they can pay their first half under protest. And I don't know that they would be very successful because the county appraiser can't change that value. We have to go on, and even the state of Kansas. I've never seen anybody be successful at a regular hearing. I don't know if Patrick has on ag use, unless it was a very heavy tree cover or something.
Yeah. They do actually, believe it or not, they do have some beneficial ways in which they're calculated to begin with, so it's harder for them to win the hearings, but
Yeah.
they have the right to try.
There are also going to be a couple meetings in Stafford County. And attend the one in Ellenwood on the 16th, I believe, the day before. There's going to be some in Stafford County. So we will get that list out when he gets it all put together. And it will be mailed to the 325 landowners affected, plus it'll be full. Citizens or organizations may present requests or proposals for initial consideration of this. Seeing none of those. The commissioners are available to the public on Tuesdays during regular business hours. One or more commissioners may be present in the commission chambers conducting county business throughout the day on Tuesdays. Commissioners may individually schedule personal appointments related to county business at their discretion. Next regular meeting will be at 9 a.m. Tuesday, December 16, 2025. That, take a motion to adjourn.
Don't move.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, adjourned.
Tricia, what was the address of that meeting? That Carlisle?